Good morning. Today we're going to talk about the area and perimeter of different polygons. We're going to go over the formula for a square, rectangle, trapezoid, parallelogram, rhombus, and a triangle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the board, show you the notes. I'm going to talk you through the notes and also talk you through a few of the examples that we've done this week. So let's look. First of all, when doing perimeter, you have to find the perimeter of a polygon by adding all the sides together. If you have a polygon with 4 sides, like a square or a rectangle, you're going to be adding 4 numbers together. If you have a polygon with like 108 sides, you're going to be adding 108 numbers together. So basically, when you find the perimeter of any polygon, you just want to know the length of the outside edge. Area is a little bit different. To find the area of a square, rectangle, or parallelogram, the formula you're going to use is length times width or base times height. Either way you want to say it. A square has 4 equal sides, so it doesn't really matter which one's the length or the width or the base or the height. Also, same thing with the rectangle, except for rectangle has 2 sets of equal sides. The top and the bottom are equal, the left and the right are equal. The length, to me, is always going to be the long ways at the bottom. Base is also known as the bottom, and the width or the height is going to be on the side. A parallelogram. One thing cool about a parallelogram, if you take this little triangle, you cut it out and you put it over here on the other side, you're going to get a rectangle. That's why the formula for the area of a parallelogram is the same as a rectangle, because it actually is a rectangle. So the height on a parallelogram is going to be where the dotted line goes from top to bottom. Our height is not the diagonal, and they're going to try to trick you with that on the standardized test, so be careful. Height goes from top to bottom, dotted line that makes a right angle. Here's an example of finding the area of a parallelogram. If you have a base of 10 inches and a height of 8 inches, your area, you're going to multiply the base times the height, which is 10 times 8, and you're going to get an answer of 80 inches squared. The reason why it's unit squared or inches squared is because when you have area, you're always squaring your answer. When you find the volume of something, you're going to be cubing your answer. So it'll be units cubed or inches cubed. But right now we're just talking about area, so this is going to be 80 inches squared. Okay. The next shape I'm going to talk about is a rhombus. The formula for the area of a rhombus is 1/2 times diagonal 1 times diagonal 2, or 2 different formulas, diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 divided by 2. If you're in my class, I've told you guys that multiplying by a half is the same thing as dividing by 2. And that's correct. So you get to choose which one of these formulas you want to do. I personally always choose to divide by 2 because I'd much rather work with a whole number than a fraction. So if you look at the little diagram, I have, it's not a kite, but it looks a little bit similar to a kite. My diagonal 1 is 10, my diagonal 2 is 16, so I'm going to plug those in the formula. I have 2 different formulas written, the one with you multiply by a half, and also the one where you're dividing by 2. So you'll have 1/2 times diagonal 1, which is 10, times diagonal 2, which is 16, or diagonal 1, 10, times diagonal 2, 16, divided by 2. Well, 10 times 16 is 160, and then when you divide 160 by 2, you're going to get an answer of 80 units squared. Okay, and that's a rhombus. Now we're going to talk about a trapezoid. Let me let my camera focus. How does it... Okay, hold on. Alright, there we go. To find the area of a trapezoid, you also have 2 different formulas to choose from. You can either multiply by a half or divide by 2. To find the area of a trapezoid, you have to know the height, you have to know base 1, and you have to know base 2. So, if you look at the trapezoid, the example that I gave, the height is just like the parallelogram, where you find the dotted line that makes a right angle. Sorry. That's where your height's going to be. And if you look, it kind of makes an H. Well, this one's a backward H, but where the right angle meets the base 1, that's going to create an H, and that just tells me that that's the height. It doesn't matter which one is base 1 or base 2, but I always pick base 1 to be the bottom of the trapezoid and base 2 to be the top. To plug it in the formula, you have to know 1/2 times height times base 1 plus base 2. Well, our height is 12. And I just gave these over here. Our height is 12, base 1 is 20, and base 2 is 10. So you'll multiply 1/2 times 12 times 20 plus 10. Well, 20 plus 10 is 30. So now you have 1/2 times 12 times 30. And 12 times 30 is 360. So now you have 1/2 times 360. And that's going to give you 180 units squared. So I also did it the other way. The formula where you're going to be dividing by 2. So you'll have 12 times 20 plus 10 divided by 2. When you add 20 and 10, you're going to get 30. So it's 12 times 30 divided by 2. 12 times 30 is 360. 360 divided by 2 is going to be 180 units. Okay, so that is the area of a trapezoid. And last but not least, we have the area of a triangle. Two different formulas again. You can either multiply by 1/2 or divide by 2. The triangle is super easy. It's just base times height times 1/2, or base times height divided by 2. So this is a right triangle, and I know that because it's going to give me that little square at the bottom. It also makes an H. That's going to give me the height. So my height here is 7, and my base here is 6. If I'm using the formula where I multiply by 1/2, I'm going to put 6 in place of the base and 7 in spot of the height. So I'll have 6 times 7, that gives me 42, and then 42 times 1/2. You'll have to make 42 a whole number, so it's 1/2 times 42 over 1. Well, 1 times 42 is 42, and 2 times 1 is 2. But when you take 42 and divide it by 2, you're going to get 21 units squared. And that's the formula for when you multiply by 1/2. Now let's check out how easy it is if you just divide by 2. The area equals base times height divided by 2. Our base was 6, our height was 7, and then we divide by 2. 6 times 7 is 42. 42 divided by 2 is 21 units squared. So that's just a little overview of the geometry we were doing this week. Perimeter, add all the sides, and the area. There's different formulas for each. So hope this helps a little bit. If you want a few practice problems, here's our bell ringer for today. So you can check this out and calculate the area and perimeter of each of the shapes. Have a good day.